everyone. The iPhone 14 is one of those iPhones that came out a couple of years ago. And in a lot of ways, this is still, a very good, stable type of iPhone. And now that we're in the later part of 2025, I do think there's a lot of really cool things to keep in mind with this type of phone. Number one, when we're looking at the outside and kind of the capability of it, I do think this iPhone still holds up very well when it comes down to that particular side, right? So the build quality, it still is very, very good, right? You're still getting a good type of display. It's not perfect and it's not like the best looking iPhone of all time, but it still is giving you a good size display. And it's also going to be able to give you a good type of capability when it comes down to the exterior, the way things look, things like that, right? On the backside, it is a dual camera setup, nothing crazy, but it still gets the job done. However, there were a lot of improvements and updates within this iPhone this year. Number one, we got a couple of more updates within iOS 18. We're now on iOS 18.7.2, and so far this has been a pretty good, stable version of software. It's gotten a lot better than the previous versions, and I do think this in and of itself makes this type of device hold up very well from that particular perspective, and I'm a big fan of that. iOS 26.1 also came out, and I do think so far the iPhone 14 updates have been pretty good, but the iOS 18 updates have been better, and I do think it makes more sense to go through and install and use something that's rather on iOS 18 rather than iOS 26.1. So kind of keep that in mind as well. Like if I'm about to go through and pick up a device, I do think it makes more sense to use and buy something on iOS 18 than on iOS 26, especially on this older type of iPhone. And the battery life on iOS 18.7.2 is also better. The performance feels better, things feel less glitchy and less out of place. And if I'm going to go through and install a particular version of software, I do think it makes a lot more sense to go through and install something on iOS 18.7.2 than on iOS 26.1. Now, when it compares against the iPhone 17, I feel like a phone like the iPhone 17, it's a very good type of phone, right? It's almost a perfect iPhone. It gives you a lot of capability, lots of really nice things going on for that type of device. And like I mentioned before, if I'm about to go through and install any type of device, basically get any iPhone, an iPhone 17 is almost perfect. But I do think from a build quality standpoint, the iPhone 14 still holds up quite well. I feel like that type of phone is still like a very, very good type of phone from that particular perspective. And I do think from that side, that's a really nice thing. I also feel like if I'm about to go through and pick up an iPhone, I feel like, with a phone like an iPhone, 14, if I have all the money in the world, I'm definitely upgrading to an iPhone 17. But with a phone like an iPhone 14, this type of device still does a really good job at giving me a good type of capability. And I feel like that right there is just another one of those things. So again, it's not the biggest deal in the world. But like I said before, if I'm picking up a phone, I feel like that type of device does give me a good type of experience. And that right there is something I'm always going to have to kind of keep in mind. So I feel like the iPhone 13 mini still is a good phone. I feel like it still is giving us a lot of capability, but I would imagine that if I'm about to go through and pick up an iPhone, there are some better options out there. This thing is giving you a 60 Hz display rather than a 120 Hz display, but I feel like in a lot of ways, this still is a very good phone in a lot of ways. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.